Hello, my name's Halima, Halima Alawode. I she, her pronouns. I'm glad to be joining you today. Sorry I was a little bit late. I wasn't given the correct link, so I apologize about that. I'm here from No Cop Unions. We are currently looking to get police representation out of AFL-CIO. We have a petition out right now. We're particularly targeting AFL-CIO because they house one of the largest cop unions in the nation. And they're probably one of the largest unions in the nation as well, and probably one of the hardest to get to budge right now on the issue as well. I'm so happy to be on this panel. I follow a lot of you on Twitter and social media already, and I'm so excited to hear about all the work everyone's doing. No Cop Union is primarily focused on trying to be a hub for a lot of the locals and other chapters in different unions. We have Teamsters members, we have SEIU members, we have CWA members. I'm a CWA Baltimore Washington News Guild member. Even though I'm currently unemployed, unemployment does not mean you're not still a worker. And so we really want to be a resource. We're not looking to spearhead our own because so many locals are doing the work already of trying to disaffiliate on their level, trying to disaffiliate, have movements and petitions move up the ladder. And so we're really here to support that and how to connect other people to what's going on. We've seen so much coming out of the West Coast right now. A lot of our members are on the West Coast, and we've seen a lot of labor council movements and just strategizing on that. And so I'm really excited to talk about all that with I think we see a lot of fear about being honest when we say that we don't believe police officers are laborers in our society, that we don't believe that they deserve the protections of labor in our society, and because specifically they're violence workers in our society. I encourage all of those who, even if you do not have an abolitionist framework yet in your worldview, I still think that you are able to have questions about where police what role they play, and if they do play the role of labor, and if that role deserves labor protections. And I also, for those who may be questioning, I'm always happy to give resources. There are people who are far more educated than me who have been asking this question of the world and those around them. And there are people like Professor Vitali, I believe, and other professors that I would be happy to link people to as well around Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, who discuss these type of issues about how police officers don't do what they say they do. They're not reduced. I know people, the big thing is like, what about the rapists and the killers? And I promise you the same amount of untested rape kits will still be untested, whether or not police officers have labor representation. That's one of the first things that we throw at us. The crimes that they already weren't solving are suddenly going to continue to be not solved if they no longer have labor representation. I wanted to ask, when we as laborers demand things, where are our police union brothers usually on that when that happens? Are they on the other side of the picket line, clubbing us, telling us that we can't, telling us no? Are they getting their collective bargaining rights somehow magically protected while everyone else's has theirs decimated? Wisconsin State specifically, when the teachers unions had their collective bargaining gutted, when every other public service worker had their collective bargaining rights gutted, police unions and fire unions were the only ones in the state who were able to not. And thankfully to our fire union brothers, they came out against that, saying, no, we think that our other brothers and sisters deserve protections. And police unions said, we actually don't care because we're fine and we know that our collective bargaining rights will always be protected because our collective bargaining rights are completely tied to our ability to kill with impunity. Police officers know that, they utilize it. It's always first and foremost in their negotiations. We're trying to keep some health care, trying to make sure our bosses are not completely exploiting us. And a lot of our co-union brothers and sisters, as you saw, as you stated earlier, Julia, the officer down in Atlanta was an SEIU brother, and he is able to kill a Black man on the street and then use collective bargaining and the tools that we have fought so hard for to say, well, I actually should be able to do this with impunity. actually shouldn't be able to be held accountable in a court of law for this. And in fact, I think my union should pay for my representation. And I don't think that that's what labor is for. I don't think any of us have been able to collectively bargain our ability to kill people. I don't think any of us have been able to bargain our ability to throw every other union under the bus. I mean, even within our own unions, think about the police unions who may be within our unions. How many of them have ever been willing to put money towards organizing? How many of them have actually put their fight behind the fight for 15? How many of them have actually put their weight behind some of the things that we need as workers to get better wages, better livelihoods? Your police union brothers and sisters have never been on that front line with you. They have gladly been on the other line getting overpay with our collective bargaining rights to beat the crap out of us when we were trying to ask for more. And so I want us to fundamentally understand they are not workers. Police officers, violence workers are not workers. They are protectors of capital. What they protect is the capital in the city. They protect the buildings in place. They protect them from us if we are standing there for too long, if we're too shifty in an area. They protect them. They protect things and wealth. They are not workers with us. And so I want us to really fundamentally understand that when we are saying we don't want them in our unions, we're not attacking ourselves. We are building ourselves up. We see what's happening with coronavirus, where our economy is going. Labor, we're going to be up for a fight. We are going to be up for the fight of our lives. And I promise you, instead of trying to cannibalize ourselves to keep police officers in our union, we should really rally up our base, which are our Black and brown workers, which are our people who are on the other end of those bats, and rally behind our actual people who are going to be in us for the fight, and not police officers. I do not think we should sacrifice the future of labor for police officers who will not be sacrificing anything for us in the upcoming years as we fight to stay above water with the ramifications of COVID-19. And so that's one of the main things I'm going to be pushing hard in the next hour, that police officers are not workers and they are not part of us. They do not deserve labor protections, and they do not fundamentally operate in society the way that we do, and they do not get a protection. They do not, not from me, not from not from you. And so I'm going to pass it on.